Imagine trying to build like a multi-million-dollar skyscraper where the architects, the engineers, and developers literally don't look at each other's plans until the night before construction begins.
Yeah, that sounds like an absolute disaster.
Right, but for decades, that disjointed chaos was just, well, the industry standard.
It really was.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the September 2025 third edition of the Corenet X Code of Practice. It's this incredibly comprehensive regulatory manual from Singapore.
Right. And our mission today is to see how an entire country is radically transforming building approvals, from this fragmented mess into a unified digital future.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
To really appreciate this paradigm shift, you have to look at the sheer friction of the old system. I mean, you had all these different disciplines operating in absolute silos.
It's completely separated.
Exactly. They would generate independent 2D plans and then submit them across, I think it was more than 20 different regulatory gateways.
Wow. It honestly reminds me of a terrible college group project, where everyone does their section without talking.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then you just try to staple it all together the night before it's due, resulting in this completely disjointed mess.
Yeah, but it's honestly worse than a group project. Because in construction, stapling it together at the last minute means structural walls colliding with plumbing lines on a live job site.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is definitely worse.
Right. And that bred massive structural conflicts and hugely expensive abortive work. But Corenet X solves this by consolidating those 20-plus gateways down to just 3.
Just 3. So, what are they?
Design, piling, which is actually optional depending on the site, and construction. What's fascinating here is how this forces project teams to collaborate way upstream.
But wait, reducing 20 gateways to 3 seems kind of impossible if everyone is still handing in separate stacks of paper. Like, how is Singapore actually forcing these teams onto the same page?
Well, by mechanically changing how submissions work. In the new design gateway, project teams are literally forced to resolve spatial conflicts virtually before a single shovel hits the dirt.
Got it.
The piling gateway focuses purely on foundation integrity, and then construction provides the final green light. The system now literally rejects individual uncoordinated files.
So you cannot pass through the design gateway unless the plumbing is mathematically locked into the architect's walls within the software.
Exactly. They mandate 3D coordinated building information modeling using a specific open standard format called IFC plus SG.
Okay, so what does this all mean for traditional blueprints then? I mean, is 2D totally dead? What if a qualified person just wants to submit standard 2D plans?
They aren't locked out completely, but the legal hierarchy of their documents has fundamentally changed. You can still submit 2D plans alongside your 3D models.
Okay.
But there's a strict new rule. If both are submitted, the 3D BIM model automatically takes precedence in any compliance check or dispute.
Wait, really? The 3D model always wins?
Basically, yeah. Unless your submission explicitly declares the 2D plan is specifically for approval. Otherwise, the 2D plan is relegated to just a supplementary reference. The 3D model is the ultimate source of truth.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I saw that the modeling requirements aren't asking for photorealistic renderings. The code explicitly notes you can represent a tree as a simple lollipop object.
Right, just a stick in a sphere.
Yeah. Just as long as the underlying data, like things like girth, height, and status, are baked into the object.
Because the system is auditing data, not art. When you embed physical dimensions into that digital lollipop, you allow the regulatory agencies to fully automate their compliance checks.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, the system parses that IFC plus SG data architecture to ensure it meets regulations, without ever needing a human to manually measure a digital drawing.
If you don't live in Singapore, it might be easy to think this regulatory shift doesn't affect you. But look at any major city dealing with severe housing shortages or endless infrastructure delays.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this streamlined, single source of truth approach minimizes abortive construction work and drastically boosts productivity.
Meaning the cities you live and work in can develop smarter and faster.
Exactly. And with fewer costly errors, it is the exact blueprint other global cities are going to have to adopt to survive.
Which leaves you with one final thought to ponder. Every new building, every foundation, and every simple lollipop tree is now required to be submitted into a unified 3D coordinate system called the SVY21.
Right, that's Singapore's topographical grid.
Yeah. So if every physical change in an entire country is mandated to be mathematically locked into a unified coordinate grid, are we quietly watching the birth of a perfectly accurate one-to-one digital clone of the entire physical world?